A billionaire will not pluck a random woman from obscurity, right?
Which is the delusion that a rich man, a very rich man, is going to come and pluck you from obscurity. Now, first of all, this needs to be said right off the bat.
Rich men don't want random, uneducated, poor women. First of all, you don't have money. You don't have anything of value. Your family does not own it.
Saying women who marry for money are corny. I'm going to say women who aspire to marry for money are delusional.
Less than 2% of the world's population are millionaires. And out of 8 billion people, only 3,500 are billionaires.
There are 60 million millionaires on the planet.
I should have known that. That was a bad guess.
How many billionaires exist?
I'm gonna say this one's
It's only 3,000 billionaires on planet Earth.
Let that sink in. 3,500 people, the entire planet. Yet somehow, social media has convinced millions of women that landing one of these men is not only possible, but expected. Today, we're going to talk about a harsh and uncomfortable truth. Baby girl, no billionaire is coming to whisk you away from poverty.
Successful, high-value man to approach you, it's not about chasing, but it's about attracting.
Scroll through TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube, and you will find an entire industry built on one promise: level up your femininity, how to become soft and magnetic, and also position yourself to attract a high-value man. High-value men, they say. That word in itself, in my own opinion, the meaning is highly debatable.
A high-value man is a man with money.
Because, baby, it does not mean how much money he has, what kind of car he drives, how good he looks. You know, I mean, those things are good, but that doesn't make a man high value.
Definition of high value male. Go for it.
Based on 4 pillars. Pillar number 1, financial success. The second, someone who's well groomed. Third, someone who's verifiable. And then networked. Those are the 4 criteria.
While some of this advice sounds harmless, even empowering, it often carries a hidden message that your life can dramatically change if you access the right man. Not just any man, but a wealthy, powerful, and elite man. A man who will fund your lifestyle, elevate your status, and solve all your problems. It is a modern-day fairy tale dressed up as strategy. This fairy tale didn't start just yesterday. It is a fairy tale that was enabled by some of the movies and cartoons that we all grew up watching. The Disney fairy tales, the Cinderella story, somehow feeling like it's very possible and highly likely that a knight in shining armor will come and rescue you from all your problems. Somehow I feel like in this generation, we are failing to detach from those fantasies of childhood cartoons.
I was looking at the likelihood of women marrying rich in comparison to women working hard and getting it themselves. And if you look at the percentage of the likelihood of you marrying rich, please go to school.
Now, let us bring this back to reality. Now, picture this. Out of these billionaires, many are significantly older, many are already married or in long-term relationships. Many also date within extremely tight social circles. You are not competing against other women online. You are competing within elite networks, social circles, family connections, business environments, Ivy League type institutions, and high-status communities. This is not a random lottery. It is a very much closed ecosystem. Here's the part that most dating and femininity coaches conveniently leave out. Status attracts status. Wealth doesn't exist in isolation. Billionaires don't just look for beauty or softness. They look for social compatibility, reputation, discretion, education, network alignment. In other words, they date women who already belong in their world, not women hoping to be rescued into the elite world. And babe, you cannot feminine energy your way into elite circles that were built on decades and decades of positioning, family ties, and social proof. The real issue isn't just that this advice is unrealistic, it's that it creates a dangerous mindset, waiting instead of building, hoping instead of positioning, fantasizing instead of acting. It teaches women to outsource their future to a hypothetical man who statistically truly does not exist in their orbit. While they wait, time passes, opportunities shrink, and reality doesn't adjust itself to match the fantasy. Now, don't get me wrong, I am no hater when it comes to femininity or learning about femininity, because I, for one, is somebody who grew up in survival mode. I was mostly in my masculine energy, and at some point, I was also consuming this content on learning about femininity and embracing your feminine energy. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, because human beings as a species, we are generally extremists. We do not know how to consume something in moderation. It's the extreme most cases. It's either someone is extremely feminist to a point where it begins to sound like men hating, or someone is feminine to the point where they now sound stupid and senseless. Now listen, the problem comes when one is spending the last dime they have to buy courses that are being presented as cheat codes of landing a rich man, an affluent man, a high value man. When a woman is spending $2,000 of the last pennies that she has with no savings, no investment, no life skill, nothing, into buying a course that teaches such, everything becomes questionable. We just spoke about the statistics. If you're investing your last dime with no savings, no investments, no life skill, no job, nothing, and you choose to invest the last drop of money, the last shekel that you have in a course, did you do the risk assessment? Because what are the odds really that out of the 8 billion people in the world, you're the one who's going to land the 2% of the available millionaires? You cannot Zara tweet your way to success. I'm not saying that it's unheard of, but to be honest, these are rare cases. And honestly, when it comes to social media, you will realize that a lot of these people that you're watching and learning from haven't even lived that life themselves. Instead of investing your last shekels into these courses, why don't you go on Coursera and learn some skill? Data analytics, learn something. Power BI, learn something. How about that?
Just a really quick PSA, please be discerning on the internet, because the internet is a very predatory place and it preys on people's desperation and deep desire to change. I see people on here giving advice on how to enter certain rooms that they've never been in, how to date a certain caliber of man, a 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure man that they've never even met before, let alone date, let alone even have a legitimate relationship with. And I see this across men and women. I see men saying like, here's how I became an 8-figure entrepreneur through day trading, Forex, and selling courses. And I literally saw that today, and I'm really not trying to be a hater. I have friends who went to Harvard Business School who work at some of the biggest industries, banking, private equity, hedge funds. Do you know how hard it is to make 8 figures through selling courses? I said this in other videos. The men who are the quote unquote high value millionaire rich men, Harvard Business School, they're meeting their girlfriends in the vineyard. They're meeting their girlfriends through childhood friends, through Jack and Jill, introduced through a friend of a friend. So all of these tips at what bar to sit at, or you need to download this app, or you need to be submissive in these ways and learn how to cook and clean, none of that matters. They are rich enough where they have chefs, they have maids, they're looking for an intellectual partner and someone who's already a part of their social circle. These people are scamming you. And I just have to say, because it really comes off as really predatory, and it becomes aspirational, especially for a lot of young women who have never even really seen or experienced that lifestyle, and it makes them willing to do anything to get to it without also talking about the downsides of it. You might actually get it, but you don't really know what you're getting yourself into.
It's very funny because a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years back, if you were to be caught on the internet saying the things that we're discussing now, it was a taboo. because everyone in that moment was living in the fairy tale and imaginary world that one day they will get married to a millionaire. Hi, my name is Amanda Towns. I do social commentary. If it is your first time joining me, please do hit that subscribe button. I will be posting a video every Friday. This is a new channel. Hit that subscribe button and please make my day. Now, allow me to insert some of the things that people have to say about this topic, and I will come back with my commentary.
I fear the JFK show has activated a delusion in the feminine psyche, which is the delusion that a rich man, a very rich man, is going to come and pluck you from obscurity. Now, first of all, this needs to be said right off the bat. On the off chance that this happens to you, you're not getting JFK Jr., you're getting Hunter Biden, you're getting Elon Musk. You're not actually getting them, but that's the energy that you're getting. The goods will be kind of odd. And all of these femininity coaches giving the same generic advice. Oh, go and sit and work in a hotel lobby. Ma'am, if you do that, not only will the rich men know, all of the women at the hotel will know, the staff will know, everyone knows. And if you can't understand nuance, I'm not saying that if you love a beautiful lobby like the Santa Monica proper and you're an architect and you like to go sit there and answer emails, that's not giving the same energy as this. Like, you're there to work, they're there to work. And everybody knows. I lived in a resort town. I lived in Ojai. There's not a lot to do there. So on the weekends, sometimes you go to Santa Barbara and have lunch at the Rosewood Miramar. Very nice hotel, by the way. And immediately upon walking in, when there were women there doing that, you can tell from their outfit. The outfit alone will give it away. Rich people dress very differently from how women who are trying to appear like that dress. It's a bad pantomime of wealth. And the people who I do know who were kind of plucked from obscurity by the weird, eccentric billionaire, let me just tell you, they are paying for it. By the energy they have to deal with, you know, whether that's like they're with a man who regularly gets them kicked out of hotels because he smokes in the hotel room, or the man is expected to be allowed to have multiple partners and you don't get to ask any questions. If it's a Nepo situation, you're dealing with a really weird, psychotic family dynamic and probably a lot of enmeshment. You're not giving Amal Clooney, okay? You're giving like Fashion Nova ambassador. And the one thing money can't actually buy is love. To get love, you don't seek love. You have to remove all of the obstacles that prevent you from being love, from being in that vibration. And that vibration is fear-based, scarcity-based. So when you operate from that vibration, that is inevitably what you will attract. Also, the idea that this is like high value dating, and it's sort of coded in the same way as like presenting very aloof, pretending to be busy, being dismissive, pretending to be unavailable. All of these things, those are what is desperate. This is what actually prevents you from meeting someone who is high quality. Because to meet someone who's high quality, you want to be as polarizing as possible so that you weed people out like right off the bat, and you don't throw away huge chunks of time talking to someone who is unserious, who doesn't who doesn't match your energy and who isn't invested in building something, you don't weed these people out by pretending and playing a character. I implore you to think about wealth building on your own terms. That will then put you in the space where you might meet people who are also invested in building and showing up with this attitude of money above all else, by the way, is a repulsive energy to men. It's the same thing as men who are very, very unattractive physically and don't take care of themselves, and they drink too much and they haven't seen their toes in the shower in 7 years, showing up and feeling like they get to demand access to the most beautiful woman in the room.
There are a lot of things that I do agree with everything that the speaker said, but I also need to add something. I do feel like in today's world, there's kind of been a mix-up between escort services and, of course, dating. Now, there are women who know exactly what they want from this entire high-value dating and all of these things, but there are also those that are naive, those that enter into this world without knowing exactly what it entails. Now, some women who know very well that they want access, they want money, they want designer things from these men, they get into this world fully aware that maybe love is not on the table. However, the younger girls that are growing up will move into that world innocently, thinking that those strategies are going to lend them a rich man who's actually going to still love them. They do not understand that oftentimes it is a trade. Oftentimes you go in there, you know the love is not going to be there, but you have access to material things. And I just feel like if people would be more honest in their teachings, in their courses, and whatever coaching services they're giving to young adults, I feel like it would be a better place. Unfortunately, that's not only the situation. People are selling courses about escorts disguised as high-value dating. And in my own opinion, I feel like that's where everything just becomes ridiculous. And might I repeat, there is nothing wrong with dating for money if you know exactly what you're doing. The problem comes when you mix up the entire situation and you think that dating for money is going to lend you love. Or when you overestimate whatever you're going to get from that, because chances are you might date a man with money, but oftentimes they're not always going to give you the money. It's one thing to date a rich man, and it's another thing to date a generous man. And like the speaker that spoke earlier on said, a lot of men who are working for their money, like she said, we're not talking about the entertainers and, people who have ample time to hang around and do all of these things, or people who have like new money. Of course, that's a different caliber of men. Those people that gradually build up their wealth, they are not just pledging for no reason. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Okay, because I know some of you are going to be in the comment section talking about, now I date for money. If you're just ugly, just say it. If you don't have access to rich men, just say it. If you know, listen, I like being realistic, okay? I'm sorry. I like being realistic, okay? I absolutely knew. That's the reason why I decided to take my education seriously, because I knew that chances of landing a millionaire coming from my background is kind of hard, unless if I wake myself up to the millionaire status, then I will have access to dating millionaires. But relying on looks alone, I mean, even the most gorgeous women, even the most gorgeous models aren't guaranteed to land millionaires. So who am I? Who am I? But anyway, let me know in the comment section what you think about that, and let us watch what this other creator had to say.
Waking up and realizing that a billionaire is not going to pluck you from obscurity, and shout out to this creator for even inviting that conversation, because as someone who's now married to a man that's building wealth but used to pursue the men who had already built their wealth, I want to talk about this. Brought up the JFK and Caroline Bessette meet cute, which is literally she met him through Calvin Klein. That right there is a testament in itself to how your social circle will speak more to who you end up with than any hotel lobby and two-piece set ever will. Taking jabs at anyone who I wasn't once before, right? I'm not othering myself. I used to be the one in the Fashion Nova 2-piece set, sitting at the hotel bars on Seeking Arrangements, looking for the billionaire that was going to pluck me from obscurity. And when I actually got one and I saw the ins and outs of what it took to deal with a man like that, that was the moment I realized I really do value emotional connection and emotional maturity. Forget the first time I ever got flown out was to this beautiful mountaintop resort. I was doing everything that I wanted to do, but I wasn't doing it with the person or the type of person that I wanted to do it with. And that really took the fun out of it. This person had already amassed their wealth. This person had already done the things. They were well over their 40s, and me at 26, I'm just like, I'm here for the vibes. But that was the day that I realized I'm not just here for the vibes. Like, I want emotional connection. Another thing that kind of already ruined it before it began was that I met this man on a dating website. And I'm not othering myself. I will continue to say that throughout this entire video. I am not othering myself. I'm just making an observation of a person that I used to be. I'm not othering myself. I met this person on a dating website specifically designed for older men and younger women. That in itself is a recipe for a disaster. I'm sorry, there's no other way that I can put it. It's a recipe for disaster because any true connection that is made with these billionaires and these perceived stay-at-home moms and these stay-at-home wives, they're often made through social circles or the schools that they went to. And I didn't go to an Ivy League. I didn't even go to school out of state. So the fact that I really thought that I was going to get plucked from obscurity at the Four Seasons Hotel bar is a testament to my delusion as a 20-something. But now that I'm married to my husband and we're building wealth, it's just one of those things that I'm just like, dang, I'm more happy that I chose this rather than sticking with that route of going with a man who is on a dating website for younger women, or the type of man that would approach you at a hotel bar. Because what they don't tell you about these men that are on these websites, these men that approach those women at those hotel bars, is that they are often discarded. Think about if he didn't have the money. What would you say about a 50-year-old man pursuing a 20-something-year-old woman? But because he has the money, we're cool with it. We call him seasoned. We say that he's experienced. But he's actually a dork. Like, if you really get in the room with these men, you realize that they're actually losers, and you realize why the money wasn't enough to keep them with the women in their age circle. I want to go back to the point of meeting these people in your social circles. Wealth marries wealth. Whatever social class you're in, unless you use education to transcend your social class, you're more than likely going to marry someone that's on par with what you're making financially, on par with who you are well-being wise. That just is what it is, right? Not everybody gets the pretty woman story. And to be fair, she was a prostitute that got lucky, okay? So if you really want a plan of how to secure wealth and secure a man, if that's still kind of what everyone's goal is, I would highly suggest getting educated and meeting someone in your education class who can pluck you from obscurity, but you don't realize you guys are getting plucked together. Y'all are in this together. Y'all are both in these Ivy League schools, these high earning potential majors. That's how you get plucked from obscurity. But I'm going to find a JFK, even though I chain smoke cigarettes like Caroline Bessette and I don't wash my hair. If you watch the show, you see how much that woman is giving up, right? She, for the sake of keeping everything copacetic, she literally asked Caroline to be her maid of honor over her sisters to keep that peace, right? So if you're not ready to sacrifice parts of yourself to be with these already in high circle men, then you need to really reevaluate why you're doing it, right? Because when I was doing what I was doing, I wanted to skip to the end of the game, right? Viewed dating an older man as a cheat code to getting straight to the St. Bart's New Year's Eve, to getting straight to the vacation, straight to the Rolexes. When I stopped dating these older men simply just for having socioeconomic advancement, and I started to date men that were in my social circle or men that were slightly above my social circle, I met my husband through my brother. What I've observed in like this whole like Shira 7 dating culture of like tricking on men and things like that, that comes at a cost. And the whole notion of I'm going to sit at this hotel with my beautiful outfit and look over my shoulder at the guy who has on a tailored Men's Warehouse suit and hope that he's Bezos, like, you are throwing a shot in the dark. And the thing is, you don't know where that dart is going to land. Is it going to land on he has money but he's a loser? Is it going to land on he has money but he has a weird... Is it going to land on he has money but he's still married to his wife and has a child that's your age? Like, most of the time, the dart lands on he's a loser. And I know as women, as people, we want the path of least resistance. We want to just say, you know what? Get me to the end of the game where I have all the money, I'm super successful, and I don't want to do anything. I get it. Oh my God, I get it. But is it worth it? Ask yourself that.
Well, again, I wish I could disagree with whatever she was saying, but I absolutely do not disagree with that. Like I said, and I'll continue to emphasize this, if this is the route that you choose to take, just make sure that you're also just elevating yourself and you're learning something, a skill or something like that. Another interesting thing that I also found out is that a lot of these coaches really are making a lot of money from you guys. And some of them will tell you, oh, this is how I begged my husband, this is like this is like that. And they will tell you that you can live the life that I'm living as well, a life of softness, a life of not having to worry about anything, you know, stuff like that. Who doesn't want to live an easy, as it appears, an easy life like that? Everyone, right? But ask yourself, if everything was easy peasy as they claim, why are they selling their courses? Why are they not giving you the courses for free? Why are they building brands online? Why are they turning their subscribers into customers and clients? Why? Because they want to make money. Even the people that are coaching you are making money. But here you are being convinced to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on courses when you could have invested that money towards learning a skill. Do you see the disparity in what they say they represent and what they actually represent? I mean, if you're dating a billionaire, I wouldn't expect you to be opening your eyes and, you know, waiting that I give you my $1,000. Like, what is $1,000 to the wife of a billionaire, really? And the fact that women are not able to see this, women are not able to see that this is somebody who's at work and selling. And for you to subject yourself to this, let's listen to what the next person has to say.
I'm not going to hold your hand when I say this because some of y'all need to use a little bit more soap than you already do. But that billionaire is not going to marry you. I don't know. Everybody's getting these delusional dreams of, oh, if this doesn't work out, I'm just going to marry rich. She wouldn't even look at you. You're dumb as are. You're on the verge of failing your classes. You have nothing to offer. Like, I'm sorry. Please check the Forbes list and please check their partners. All of them are of high status. All of them are well educated and well read. What the
That was certainly hilarious and a little bit harsh, but there is truth to what she's saying. Now, of course, if you're one of those drop dead, gorgeous women, you know, the rare cases and stuff like that, you're going to lend yourself a billionaire whilst doing nothing, whilst not having hobbies of your own, whilst not having a skill of your own, whilst not having a career of your own. But to be honest, the odds of that happening are very slim. So if I were you, I would take my last pennies and invest in a skill. But then again, that's just me. Let me know in the comment section, you guys, what you think about this entire billionaire lending a billionaire or millionaire trend. Now, that being said, also, let us not forget that whilst you think that your beauty alone is going to lend you a billionaire, there are beautiful women as well who were born into status, born into wealth, that these men still have access to. And if this is the route that you have decided to take, be educated, be informed, make smart decisions. If you can, when they do spend on you, make sure you save and invest, okay? And also make sure that whoever is teaching you these tips and tricks has actually walked the road. Speaking about walking the walk, allow me to play this last video.
About a year ago, I posted a video saying women who marry for money are corny. I got fried on the internet. However, like many great philosophers, I think my ethos was just a touch too early for the times. I do think the internet is now ready to hear my side. However, instead of saying women who marry for money are corny, I'm going to say women who aspire to marry for money are delusional. And I'll point out 3 main delusions. I know this from lived experience. I went to one of those fancy New England prep schools. I went to a top 12 school. I had interned in banking. A lot of my friends work in banking. I've worked in tech. I've worked in finance, blah, 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 blah. I know that world, so I can tell you from lived experience. So delusion number 1 is who these men are actually choosing. I think what made this discourse so exciting in the beginning is it made women believe that a man is going to pluck you from obscurity, from the town that you hate, from the job that you hate, and he can fundamentally change your life. When in reality, these men have a very specific pool of women that they're selecting when they're thinking about partnership. They are thinking about, or they are selecting women from the business school that they went to, the undergrad that they went to, the pre-professional programs that they are part of, the members-only clubs that they are part of, where they summered over the vacation, family, friends, or maybe through friends of friends. Like maybe he's having a housewarming in his apartment loft in Tribeca and his best friend brings a homegirl and that's how he meets. But it's all through very proximate and concentric circles. And let's say you do get lucky and maybe you connect on Raya or a night out. The second he brings you around friends or the partner at the law firm and you can't talk comfortably about certain things that only people who grew up talking about those things can do, it's a wrap. The second delusion is what the experience of dating this person is actually like. Social media has made it seem like it is countless shopping trips and Chanel bags. The reality is, whether you're dating someone who inherited wealth, who is creating their own wealth, athlete, entertainer, they're always traveling, they're always on the road, they're always working. They have 0 time to pay attention to you. It is an extremely lonely relationship. Essentially, you are effectively single with some moments of partnership. Their priority is and will continue to be work. Also, the sort of like attention-seeking behavior that you could get away with someone who wasn't as focused on their career cannot happen. You need to have a robust, full life, a job that you love, friends and family for you to even feel fulfilled in a relationship like that. Because if you're looking for your partner to spend a lot of time and attention on you, it's just not going to happen. I also don't even know where the notion that these finance tech bros are out here spending money and buying Chanel bags. They must have the best PR on the planet. They work for their money. They are some of the cheapest people you will ever meet. And I don't even mean that in a pejorative sense, but I mean that in like when you have to earn your, like spend 15 hours at a desk in order to earn your money, you are not going to spend that on a Chanel bag on a girl that you met 2 weeks ago. And I think that's another thing. I think a lot of people conflate the experiences that they might have with like athletes and entertainers with people who work in corporate tech finance. It's not the same. And the third delusion is I think a lot of people grossly overestimate how much money you will get in alimony or child support. So women, I am telling you this from insider experience. The easiest and less painful way to become a millionaire and have that soft life is to do it yourself.
Again, I absolutely agree with a lot of things that she's saying. That also reminded me that chances are when you continue with these deceptive tactics of, oh my God, I have to do this, these manipulative games, you're going to land yourself a pretend billionaire. Yeah, a guy who aspires also to be a high value man, one that aspires to be rich, one that aspires to be a millionaire, billionaire, and before you know it, you've entangled yourself with a scammer cosplaying a billionaire. Yeah, because there are men like that on the internet, you know, who are all over the place, who also feel like when they look at you, if I'm with this lady, she's going to elevate my status. Now I'm going to look like I'm wealthy. I'm going to look like I'm rich. And before you know it, you're getting scammed. So you truly have to be careful, ladies. Well, that being said, we've gotten to the end of this video. Hop into the comment section and please let me know what you think about that. If we have older women, I would absolutely appreciate hearing what you have to say. And also let me know, is there anything wrong in investing the last of your coins in learning about femininity and stuff like that? And also let me know, is there anything wrong to also elevate yourself career-wise whilst you are still looking for your high value men? And if you have any ideas, of course, for what we can talk about, please do hop into the comment section and let me know the ideas that you have, and I will be happy to cover that as well. Thank you for watching once again, and if you have made it to the end of this video and you had no issue understanding my accent, please join me on this journey and be one of the first subscribers to this channel. And until my next one, see you.